9. Roka el Tren, a la fuga. Que se reporten las unidades. Apoyo policial.
Se cayeron los lagartos guerreros míos. A las 12 de la noche le calo frío. La venganza se come en un plato frío. Así es que se maneja en mi caserío. Ya no es para la gaveta, directo para arriba. Eso no fue de abuso, fue por lucido. Los que yo no saludo es que no confío. Los que quieren mi muerte me les sonrío.
Welcome to Open Eyes, everybody. This is episode 2. I've got a really special guest on today. He's personally a very good friend of mine, and he goes by the name Roka el Tren. And he's a singer as well as doing a bit of acting, and he's been connected to artists in the past such as Daddy Yankee and Jay Alvarez. So without further ado, welcome to Open Eyes podcast.
How you doing, Sydney?
Thank you.
Well, you know, I've been working on, I don't know if I tell you, because we was talking the other day about the Duke of New York, New Ghost Town City. Yeah, that's what I'm working with. I'm working with Angel Salazar right now, known as Chi from Scarface. And he just got me like working everywhere that he's working on, all the projects that he's got. Well, not all of them, but a few of them, you know. And he just putting me on there, you know. He's just like, go ahead, let's go in here, you know. So I'm like, yeah, fuck it, you know, let's go. It's something new. So, you know, besides my music, it took me a little bit off the music, and it was weird because we was talking about the other day, life give you like a 360 change. You don't even know how you're gonna end up in 5 years. You don't know.
Exactly.
You don't know this thing. So this is something new to me. Like acting wasn't like on my plans, but I did came out on Daddy Yankee the movie one time. I think it was Talento de Barrio called, and I did like a little cameo there, like on 4 or 5 scenes and stuff like that. That he called me up and be like, "Yo, you want to do, you know, want to come up in the movie?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go," you know. So
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
I did collabo. Yeah, I did collabo for that movie Talento de Barrio. My name was Dominio on the movie, you know. So I only came out like 4 or 5 scenes and stuff like that, but it was good enough. You know, it was good. It was a good experience. So it was something new to me. And I said, well, if I ever do something like that, you know, again, it'll be about my life story or something like that. That's what I'm working on right now. You know, so
That's cool, that's
um,
cool.
I'm working something very nice. You know, putting it in a box. You know, quiet. You know, because you know how it is. Plans you can't tell. So, but yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Huh? And before we continue as well, behind me, that is Roka el Tren's latest album. It's called OK with El Dominio.
Okay.
I got his name right eventually.
Oh yeah,
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 I
yeah,
swear I got it wrong.
yeah.
So tell us a bit about yourself. So like growing up, you know, where you grew up, a bit about your childhood.
Well, you know, I grew up in a very poor country, Puerto Rico. A lot of people, you know that, you know, from the hood who don't know me. Yeah, I am from the hood. I wasn't raised with a silver spoon in my mouth, like, you know, like an old saying. Um, there was 8 of us in a family, very poor. I had to come out and try to get mine since I was little, you know. So I did everything I could, you know, to survive with my family, my sisters, my brothers, you know. So I had to go to like supermarkets, steal food, steal, you know, whatever I could steal and sell, so my
Yeah.
family could live, you know. Because back then, you know, it was very hard for me. I was young, you know. I couldn't work legally, so I had to steal.
Mm.
So, and it was the easiest thing to do. And then growing up in the hood, and you're looking at all the kids doing it, you know, you want to do it. So I became the best of what I was doing. And but that gave me, you know, it's part of my story, part of my life. Like, you know, I went to jail for it, you know, for a very long time, you know, um,
How
and it was
many,
tough.
sorry for interrupting. How many years were you in jail for? Because I know you said you were a bit in and out, so.
Yeah, I was just in and out. But my first bit was when I was young. I was only like probably like 12 years old, that I remember. I was in the juvie, but juvenile jails in Puerto Rico are like really regular jails out here. It's lockdown. It's crazy. It's everything. Everything you can name on. It's drugs. It's everything you name. So it was kind of hard for me growing up, you know. And but I did survive. I did survive that time. I learned a lot in jail. So because jail it's like a school, you know.
Yeah.
You just go in there, and one bad thing about jail is that you know when you're coming in, but you don't know when you're coming out, because you could catch a case in jail.
Mm.
You know, if somebody try to mess with you or something, you know, you're gonna try to do what you can and to try to defend yourself. And next thing you know, you got another case. So, you know, it's I've seen a lot of things. I've seen horrible things, you know, things that
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to say anyway. But yeah, I did survive. I'm here, you know, and it's just part of my life. It's part of my book, you know. It's part of my movie that I'm writing. It's a real life story, you know. And yeah, I did
What
3 years and got out, and then from there on.
mm. What kind of life lessons would you say that you learnt during your childhood and during your prison time?
Well, you know, at first I learned how to be a man. You know, I learned how to walk straight. You know,
Mm.
because this is it's something a lot of codes that people don't know is you have to learn how to walk straight. You know, people that don't
Yeah,
walk straight, you know, they end up in another place.
it's
So
true.
yeah. So I learned a lot. I learned sculptures in jail. You know, when I came out, you know, I learned a whole bunch of stuff. You know, and kept growing up and coming in and out of jail because it wasn't easy going in the hood.
Mm.
And that's when I left Puerto Rico. So I get out of jail, leave Puerto Rico to get a better life, but knowing that okay, cool, I'm going to the U.S. There's no hood like over here, and I was wrong. I was totally wrong because I went to North Philadelphia, which it was worth because the North Philly is like very hood.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I saw crack cocaine in bottles. We're talking about 1988,
Mm.
1988, 1987, 1988. That's the first time I saw crack cocaine in bottles. So, and I used to walk and see in the floor all little capsules with red top, yellow top, blue top. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? I didn't see this in my hood. I mean, I saw cocaine and weed, but I wasn't seeing. I was like, what kind of drug is this? And it was crazy because then you learn something new. I learned how to work with the new drug. I learned how to be in a corner, take over the corner. You know, I learned how to cook crack. I learned a whole bunch of stuff, you know, to survive again. Because I get out of the hood and I go to live with my sister, my older sister. I was only back then when I got to get out of jail, I was only 15, going to my 16 years old. And it was crazy because I go to my older sister. My older sister says, this out here is not like Puerto Rico. This is a little worse
Mm.
because in Puerto Rico we got codes. Out here they don't got codes. They don't got street codes. People don't respect the corners. People don't, you know, certain things that you know they respect certain codes like not being a snitch or whatever. But the other codes they didn't respect. Like you know that's my corner. This is my hood. None of that. They just went up there and it was a like gang. It was a lot of gang involved. So it was a lot of shooting. You know, it was
Mm.
crazy. You know, but I did again. I did survive because when you survive in Puerto Rico and they know you're a real nigga, you know, they'd be like, okay, this dude's real. You know,
Mm.
it's different. It's different. It's totally different. But yeah, I did. Yeah, I lived in North Philly. I did what I had to do again, you know, to survive. And it was such and such. It was on and on. You know, I never went to jail in Philly. So I leave Puerto Rico when I got out of jail. Look, practically, I didn't even get out of jail. So they gave me like a free pass to go home and come back, but I never returned.
Yeah.
So I was a refugee for, you know what I mean, for quite a long years. You know, like I never went back. I said, fuck no, I'm not going back to that jail. So I stood on my 3 day pass, you know, for good conduct. Um, and I went to Philadelphia. I said, I'm going with my sisters. I ain't never coming back. And I was wrong. I did came back.
Mm.
Um, I only last there like a year and a half, almost 2 years in Philadelphia. That's when they killed my cousin in Puerto Rico. So
Oh,
I
wow.
heard my cousin got killed. He was a big time, drug dealer. Uh, and it was crazy because we grew up together. We was all like a family. Me and
Yeah.
my cousin were like cousins and brothers at the same time. So it was kind of hard for me, um, looking at that picture and saying, "Wow, when you're young and you see your best buddy die, and the way he died, he got shot like 8 times in the face. He got thrown in the woods. I remember it was for the Hurricane Hugo.
Mm.
Hurricane Hugo was 1989, September 17th, and they killed him 2 days before the hurricane. So he get lost, and when they throw him in the water, like in the woods, and then finally they found him or whatever. You know what I mean? And they gave him a proper burial. But I didn't make it to his funeral because they couldn't fly. Like it was Puerto Rico was so fucked up that there was no airlines working, so I had to wait a few days, to fly, and I did never make it to the funeral. But it was a fucked up experience, because it was like that was my blood, you know.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
the more I'm learning about you, the more I'm kind of like, I'm not shocked. I'm like, obviously, I knew you just fairly well, but like you're telling me more and more about you, and I'm like, all I'm thinking is you're
yeah.
so strong mentally. Like the amount of things that you've been through, it's, you're leaving me speechless. But I think one of the things that's always kind of intrigued me about anybody that's been to prison, it's that, when the first time you went in, was it the way you expected it to be, or was it a lot different than you had expected it to be?
Well, yeah, yeah, because when you in the street and people that go to jail, they scare you.
Yeah.
They scare you. When back when I was younger, they were like, "Oh, wait till you go to jail." And cops, every time they used to catch me stealing, they gave me a second chance. It's like, but wait till you go to jail. They're gonna eat your ass. They're gonna do all these things to you, and you're gonna be somebody else's bitch. And I say, you know what? I'm a man. They're gonna have to kill me. You know.
Mm.
But yeah, when I went to jail, it was like another family. None of that happened.
Mm.
Because it
Yeah.
was like a brotherhood. It was like a brotherhood in Puerto Rico. So it's a brotherhood that I'm not even supposed to talk about, but it was a brotherhood.
Yeah.
So whoever know in Puerto Rico, they're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, when I was growing up, and then I went into jail thinking all this thing is gonna happen, and it was totally different. It was like a brotherhood. Everybody sharing. If you don't have food, this brother will give you. As soon as you came in, they give you underwear, socks, food, cigarettes. I didn't smoke, so I was good. But they gave me food and everything. They gave me, yo, you got socks, you got underwear, you good, you got soap. And it was like, wow, none of this that I expected in jail, you know,
Mm.
is what's happening. This is something different, and I became a family, you know. So yeah, it was a good experience at the end of the day because it's like a school. You got 2,700 criminals there, and they all think different. you know.
Yeah.
So it was different barricades, like what 200 inmates here, 200 here, 100 and something here, and they're all sleeping in bunk beds, you know what I mean, next to each other, and none of that happened. I mean, I'm not gonna say nothing happened because I saw a whole bunch of shit happen, but it wasn't
Mm.
none of that rape and none of that. You know what I mean? If a guy wanted to get raped, he gets raped because he was gay, and and that's on his own. You know what I'm saying? On his own behalf. But none of that, happened in when I was there, and it was a beautiful experience. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I learned from the
Yeah.
elders. I was only 13. Everybody else was 18. You know, waiting to get more sentence to go to the big leagues and shit like that. You know, um, but this is the first time I saw everything. Like it was nothing different from the streets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in
Yeah.
jail, you get everything too. You get the same thing. The only thing you don't have is just women. You know what I mean? But that's it. You know, everything else was the same. So yeah, it was different. It was I go in thinking something else was gonna happen, and I didn't. And as soon as I joined the family, everything was all good. Like, I felt like I was home. I felt like I had somebody to care for. You know what I mean? So it's fucked up because you get institutionalized. So that's why I was in and out
Yeah.
of jail. You know. So I come to the U.S. I get out. And only last but like 2 years to say, give or take. So I go in at the age of 12 and a half. I get out at the age of 15 and a half. So I did about 2.5, 3 years almost, give or take, that I remember. So yeah, when I go to Philadelphia, I never went back in to Philly.
Mm.
I never went back in jail. You know, I last another year and a half over there. And when I come to Puerto Rico, and my cousin get killed, and then, it was crazy. Now the hood is crazy. Now I'm carrying a gun. Now I have to carry a gun
Mm.
because I'm their family, and we all carry guns. And it was like a little war. It was like a hood war. With friends that grew up with each other. So that it was fucked up because I didn't know who was who. That's when my whole psychology changed. Never trust nobody.
Yeah.
You, you see, this is your friend, but he's not. He's really
Mm.
not. So it was crazy sleeping, with somebody that you don't know if that guy was there to kill you. You know what I mean? And that was my hood. That was my hood, and that's what I lived. I remember living. It was like an old apartment, and my mom had left to Boston, Massachusetts. And I was still in Puerto Rico, and it was 1990, 1991, you know. And I remember because just a war thing, a lot of shootings, whole bunch of shit. And I was in this old apartment, and we would all sleep there, like our gang. It was like a different gang,
Mm.
different gang members, but it wasn't gangs. It was like groups,
Yeah.
from different spots. We call it spots. This guy runs this spot with a different stamp of whatever drug. We run another one. So our stamp slept in one apartment. We all strapped up, looking at each other, looking at everybody sleep. Like, I don't know if this guy, because I saw it. I saw friends killing friends. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I saw friends that were growing up with each other, our boys, they killed each other. So it was kind of fucked up for me. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to sleep here?
Yeah.
How am I going to sleep here if I don't got the same brotherhood in jail? You don't have it in the street. Now you don't
What
got a guy watching your sleep.
what kind of signs would you say you could kind of tell if somebody was untrustworthy? So like if you didn't trust them, what kind of things would you say, like red flags that you could pick up on?
I mean, there was so many things. I mean, there was a few that I could trust,
Mm.
like my I'm his son godfather. Is the one that grew up with me. That was the only one that I could trust. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was my best friend, and I ended up being his godfather for his son. You know what I mean? And that guy was so vicious that I learned so much from him because he didn't trust nobody. Like
Mm.
he has so many. Yeah, he got killed. Rest in peace. He got shot a lot of times uh, in Puerto Rico. So yeah, I grew up next to him, and he was like my best friend. He always told me, "Don't trust nobody. Don't trust this guy." And I'm like, "Why? He's supposed to be our boy." Like, he's not. What do you mean? He's with us. He's with us for the job. He's not trustworthy. So I was like, "How the fuck you want me to?" And you hanging with the same guy that you think is gonna kill you. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, but he's not gonna kill me because I'm watching.
Mm.
So any stupid shit he does, he's gonna go first." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" So it was kind of fucked up growing up in that neighborhood, having this guy next to us that you know he got problems with us, but he's just looking for the right time to pull the trigger. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
crazy.
So it's crazy, and that's how I grew up. You know, it was so fucked up that it's like I don't trust nobody no more. Like it's very hard for me to trust somebody. Like yeah, I could be friends with somebody that I
Mm.
know. Like okay, I know you. Oh, how can you don't trust me, Papa? If you live what I live or
Yeah,
see what
definitely.
I saw, then you know you can't trust nobody. That's
Mm.
biblical. It's biblical when you look at the Bible and you know that Cain killed his own brother. So what makes you think that's not going to happen when you read the Bible? Because I read the Bible, and I study it, and it's the same thing that we live in exactly right now at this moment with a new generation. It's just we
Mm.
didn't live those years, but it's the same. Everything repeats itself. You can't trust nobody. In these days, it's the same way with you. You got friends, but maybe that friend, best friend of yours, is like, man, this girl's shiesty. Especially with girl. Oh, she looking at my man, or
Mm.
she
Yeah.
wants to talk to my man. So there's always something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing in the street. This guy wants the best car, or this guy wants to buy the best jewelry. And it's all like this new thing going on. But it's always been like that. It's not the new generation because when I was growing up, it was the same.
Yeah.
But now that I grew up and I became a man, no, none of those things matter because everything is like vanished. Everything is like vanity, an affliction of spirit. So
Mm.
it's like right now, I don't think about none of that. I don't think about the jewelry. I don't think about it, even though, yeah, I like watches and I like, a good watch, but it's not, I don't have no jewelry. This is me. One watch, I don't even wear this watch. I just wear it once in the blue moon or whatever when I'm going out, you know what I mean? And it's just simple. Today I'll take it off and that's it. I'll give it to you. You know, don't ask for it because I won't give it to you. Yeah, but yeah, nothing. It doesn't matter anymore. Like if I don't have it, I don't have it. You know what I'm saying? I live
Mm.
good, but I lived in the worst. I live a good life, especially where I live right now. It's just amazing. You see my place.
Mm.
Um, I got an apartment in Miami too. I'm working out of Jersey and out of New York, so it's just like I have to be around here. But yeah, everything is vanity and affliction of spirit. I grew up through all that. I'm already bypast that. You know, I don't care about the fancy car, even though I drive a nice truck. But I don't really care about it. I was walking. 8 months ago I was walking. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? I didn't have a car. 8 months ago I didn't have a watch. 8 months ago I didn't have a fancy ass place. So it's just like ups and downs. So I've been through all that. So but now I try to manage all that. And coming from the hood is is good. Why? Because it teaches you so much, for you to fall down and come back up stronger. Every time you lift yourself up, you know, you come out stronger. Because, the strong man is not the one that goes to the gym and bench 300 pounds for chest. A strong man is the one that falls down and knows how to get back up stronger, and that's what I consider myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I've been
100%.
in and out of yeah, I've been in and out of the game, so many times, that now that I learned through the years, because I told you not too while ago, in 2016, I get out of prison again because
Mm.
I went in and I did 4 years after my whole career was blowing up because I was in the music, I was working. So after I get out of the hood, I come back to the hood, started selling drugs or whatever. But this is where I met Daddy Yankee when he came to Boston, Massachusetts, and he was like, "Wow, why don't you just sing? You got a good image. You know how to rap. You know, we started this whole game. That's when reggaeton wasn't even up there. You
Mm.
know, reggaeton was very down. They were the only ones putting the music out there. So that's why I give it to him a lot because he came from the same hood I come from. You know,
Oh, wow.
and
See, I didn't know
he
that.
grew up. Yeah, he grew up the same way, looking at the same things that we can't even talk about. So we kind of relate a lot. you know. So every time we see each other, like we don't call each other, but every time we see each other, we hug each other, we respect each other because he knows he's
Mm.
the same age as I am. You know, he uh, he made it to a level that I'm not yet. You know, that I am proud that he made it because I remember back in the days when he was almost like 30 something years old. He was probably like 31, and we was in Orlando, and he tell me, and we were singing, and after we get out of the stage, he's like, "Damn, man, my whole album got stolen. You know, like his music got
Yeah.
licked somehow, and that's all I had. Now I have to redo everything again." And I say, things happens for a reason, And I
Definitely.
remember, yeah, I remember that he was like, "Man, if I don't hit this year, I'm gonna quit." And I told him just like this. I said, "You know what?" And it did happen because it did went through his mind one time that he was gonna quit. Because I had that conversation. We was out at Denny's eating pancakes, and we was having breakfast, and he was like, "If this happened, I'm gonna quit." And I told him, "Man, you can't quit. You're the man. You're the king on this shit. You can't quit. Something is gonna be hit with La Gasolina that everybody knows his song, La Gasolina."
Mm,
Uh,
yeah.
and I was there, and I was there because he wanted me to be there. I was there picking up the Grammy that day.
Oh,
He won an award, and he told me, "I really want you to be here." And a lot of people don't know this, but I was there. I was right there next to his brother. You know, that back then was working with him too, and it was very important for me to be there because he told me, "You see everything that I achieved, and we come from the same hood." And he always trying to tell me like, "Get out of the street, get out of the street." But I loved it so much. It was just like, I love the street so much that, it backfired me because I try to do two things at the same time. I try to do music, but I was hustling in the street. So
do you
that messed me all up.
do you feel as though Daddy Yankee was kind of the main person that got you into the music, or would you say there was other people along the way that kind of influenced you?
N- Nobody imposed me to do music but him. And
Mm.
he was the one. He was like, "Yo, get out of the streets. Yo, you gotta get out of the street. I'm gonna make your career. I'm telling you, you good." So what he does to get me out the street, but he couldn't, was saying, "Let me get this song and put it on my album because back then you have to be good and very good at what you was doing to come out on his album." Because Daddy Yankee, Raymond, his name is Raymond,
Mm.
he was very picky when it comes to music, and it was Wisin and Yandel. It was back then. Who else was the back then? Oh, Lito Polaco, like all the old school. And it was crazy because he was very picky with his music, but he picked me that time for El Cartel,
That's
and it
impressive.
was Nicky Jam, him, Kino Ranking, Julio Voltio. I mean, all the best, and it was nothing but the best with lyrics. You had to be a lyricist. If not, you don't come out on the album. And it was crazy because he recorded more than 43 people for that
Mm.
album, and I am number 13 on the song on his album on El Cartel. So it was a very whoever got the album knows that Roka came in there with LBM. It was another artist from Boston that he liked a lot because he used to rap in English, and it was a Puerto Rican kid who was very good. LBM, a good friend of mine, and we decided to do the song together. And
Mm.
when we presented to Daddy Yankee, we had the producer Carlos Brigante back then, and we presented to Daddy Yankee. Was like, "Yo, I like the song. It's gonna come out on my album." And I was like, "It's not gonna come out," because he recorded so many people. See me that it was crazy to take out with singing Yandel
Mm.
from the album.
Oh
It
yeah.
was crazy. That means you wasn't good enough. And back then they were good, you know.
Mm.
So he was like, "No, this album is like El Cartel. It has to be hood. Can be preppy. It can be, it can be, fruity. This is a hood album." So I was like, "Okay, let's go. Let's do a hood thing." And he know that I was a real hood dude. So he knew that the song was gonna come out good. 2000, nine. I was going through everything. Like after I met up with him in 2005,
Mm.
me and Gami was already doing shows. It was Rock and Gami. It was a duo. Me and the other guy with the dreads. So a lot of people don't know about us, but yeah, we got a lot of trayectoria is called, behind us. A lot of story. Um, and yeah, it was back then. It was Nicky Jam and Yankee, Rock and Gami, Pirig
Mm.
and Alberto, Cecina, it was duos, we're singing Jandel, So it was a lot of duos. A lot of people don't know that, whoever knows about the story, yes, is going to tell you, yeah, that's really, really good. It did happen. So on 2005, I was going through a lot, family. I had a daughter,
Mm.
she was born in 2005. Uh, I was already an artist. I was signed to a label that wasn't doing shit for us at the end of the day, because it was like a big monopoly. It was something was wrong, and I know that something was wrong on the label. So I was like, fuck it, you know what I mean? Let's get the release. They didn't want to release. I had to use the streets, And when I tell you I had to use the street, I had to use my muscle. My muscle
Yeah.
means, I had to be aggressive to get out of the contract. So I did get out of the contract anyway, at the end of the day. And I started doing my own thing, you know. But by doing my own thing, now I'm not a manager, no, and I don't got a record label that I did put a record label. So yeah, I got my own record label. I was like, fuck it. Yeah, we signed. Yeah, who you sign with La Via Music? Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah, who are they? I don't know, some dudes from Puerto Rico. And I was the one that run the label. You know what I mean? I never said who owned the label or nothing. So everybody wanted to meet La Via Music, but I didn't show nobody. And then, I went through it, again, ups and down. So I lived to Providence, Rhode Island. Then it was hood, poor. We didn't have no money. I had to hustle again, back to the same thing. Because, after being signed and doing nothing with the music, there was no shows going on. You know, we didn't have a manager. So it was kind of fucked up. So I had to
Mm.
go back to deal drugs, go
Yeah.
back to the street. So I couldn't push my career. So everybody used to see me because I used to be in videos and shit like that. Because I used to be on TV a lot. So everywhere I go, people was like, "Oh shit, you rock! Yo, can I take a picture with you?" Okay, yeah, you could take a picture with me. But what am I doing?
Mm.
What am I
I hear
really
you.
doing? What did these people think that is going on when I'm not that guy? They so they were like, "Oh yeah, you rap, you sick. Oh my god, yeah, you nasty." But in my
Mm.
inside, I was so depressed because I didn't have nothing. I didn't have a
Yeah.
car. I didn't have nothing, practically nothing, no jewelry, no nothing to show. So they used to look at me like, damn, is this really the guy or is he that humble? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it kept me alive, you know, being a little famous back then because back then we had no social media. So
Mm.
if you was famous, it was because word of mouth. If your name was out there, it was word of mouth. So yeah, people knew me in Spain. People knew me in Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, Venezuela, Colombia, but it was a word of mouth. It was because back then we had the TV was called Mundos, and
Mm.
that channel was everywhere. Like all the Latin countries used to watch Mundos, and that's how Rock and Gami got to a little bit of publicity,
Yeah.
you know. But after everything went down, I get out of the label, everything started collapsing again. So, a lot of people don't know that about artists. We go into depression. And some artists, they kill themselves or they end up doing some type of drug. And like I know a lot of them, they happen, you know,
Mm.
they die because of the drug situation or anything, or suicide, you know, and they don't want to say it like that, But I do know a lot of artists, they commit suicide. They do drugs and they end up being nobody, after a while. And I look at them, I'm like, damn, why you
Mm.
couldn't take the pressure. And I did took all that pressure, you know. So it was kind of crazy because then in 2009, I decided to do music in 2009. So, and I
Mm.
was 30 years old,
Yeah.
Was I 30? Yeah, I think 30 years old. So I'm grown up. Again, I'm doing my thing. Again, I say, fuck it. If he did it, I could do it. And I kept looking at Raymond too, because he used to live right next door to me in Miami. He used to live at the Grand, and I used to be at the Venetian, and I had an apartment too at the Grand. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I got the studio, I got the best producer. So I started dealing with drugs. I was dealing with pills. I was working on pills. And that was my income. I was selling pills and making money, making so much money. And I built my studio. I got my apartments. Now I'm flossing. I got my jewelry back on. So it's hood, and it was all hood. But people thought it was music, and it wasn't really like that. But people that knew me, like the artists, is like, no, this nigga's real nigga. This is from the street. So a lot of niggas started fucking with me, like Jay Alvarez, Nemo, Kendo Capone. People that was already out there, making music, and they already have fans in Colombia.
Yeah.
That's when I started doing my music again. And so I got Young Hollywood, DJ Blast, Timeless, the producer, Greasy. Um, so we have four producers that were badasses, and that's when I started making my music again. So 2009, 2010, 2011 was good, but in 2012, that's when everything started collapsing again, you know. And it was crazy because it's up and down, and not too many people know that when you up here and then you go down all of a sudden in fractions of seconds, that's
Yeah.
the worst depression ever because now I got two daughters who depend on me.
Mm.
And
That's mad.
it was fucked up because the day I got arrested, see, the same day I got arrested, my little daughter says pinky promise because she said, "Can you pinky promise?" Because I was separated from his mom, from her mom.
Mm.
We broke up, we had our differences, she's a beautiful person. I love her. But it was crazy because my daughter in the car that day, I'm driving to school, and she said to me, "Daddy, can you pinky promise that you're never gonna leave us again?"
Oh, bless her.
And when I made that promise to her, and the
Oh.
same day I get arrested, see, the same fucking day I get arrested to do 4 years. So I didn't see my daughter for 4 years.
How do you think that, impacted her?
And
Like,
it was shocking because she thought that I was working doing music, and but at
oh.
the end, it was already years passing by, and my baby mama kept saying, "I don't know what to tell them.
Mm.
I don't know what if I should tell them that you in jail because my other daughter, the big one, she couldn't take it. My little one, she always knew that daddy will always come back, but the big one,
Yeah.
who was my princess, she couldn't take it. She was like, I don't know why he left. Why he
Mm.
leave us? You know, I'm supposed to be his princess. So it was kind of fucked up for me because I was locked up. I didn't know. I didn't call nobody. I didn't call them. It was just fucked up. So the only way that I listened to them is when I was like calling her and say hi, how you doing, Tuti? How you doing, Cole? And it was crazy. So it was just a fucked up moment of my life that I don't ever want to go through again. Because it's fucked up. When you got kids and they depend on you, yeah. And then I go to jail. My other two boys, who's big already, you know, one of them goes to jail too. So I'm locked up. My son is locked up.
Wow.
It's a lot of things a lot of people don't know. So it was too much to take for me as being an artist.
Yeah,
So it's
definitely.
not like none of these fake artists that you got out here right now talking about all this and in the
Mm.
songs. And no, my music was real, and it was always real because I always talk about things that I go through. Things that
Yeah.
I do, things that I did in my past. It's not about carrying a gun and none of that. No, yeah, no, all this crazy shit. No, if I
I've
talk about
noticed
it,
that
I'll
as
be
well.
about it.
I've
I
noticed
what?
like in your songs as well, whenever I listen and stuff, it's always got a story, every single one, and it's deep and it just
Yeah,
hits you hard.
yeah. So when you listen to the songs, of course, if you reflects to that song, you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, I kind of reflect to this song because I went through it. I went
Mm.
through the same thing, or you kind of familiar. If you're from the hood, you're gonna like it. If you from the hood, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. If you don't got the codes that I have, then you're not gonna understand my music, or I'm
Yeah.
either too real for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're gonna be like, damn, they know this dude is too real.
Mm.
Or it didn't happen. It didn't happen like that because nigga, you wasn't there. You wasn't there. Your daddy wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe he was, but he was in the other corner. You know what I mean? Eating ice cream. Yeah. So it was kind of crazy. Sometimes people underestimate, but people that really know me, they know me as an OG. They're like, yeah, he's an OG. It's and now knowing my son is about to get out of jail, and he even knows. You know what I mean? His dad is a legacy. His dad is a legend. It's a living legend. I'm not proud of what I did. I'm
Mm.
not gonna say that. I'm not proud of what I did because what I did could get you killed. What I
Yeah.
did could get you in jail. So I try to tell these kids nowadays, man, you got other things to do. You got music. You could be a graphic designer. You could be a producer. There's so many things out here. Instagram. You could be a promoter. You could do so much things to make money. To get
Mm.
out of the streets because the streets ain't gonna give you nothing. You know, drugs ain't gonna do nothing good because I've been there, done that. I did drugs. I had a habit of 8 pills a day. I used to
Mm.
do Roxys, so it was opiates, and when you do opiates, it's already in your blood, in your skin. You're gonna wake up different. You're gonna throw up, but you're gonna get sick when you don't got it. So it was kind of hard for me, you know, to get out of all these things because from having everything, see me, I lost everything from having everything. When I tell you everything, I was making
Your
because
it went off for a sec. I couldn't hear what you were saying.
yeah, yeah, I was having a phone call. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, that phone is gonna start ringing in a few. But anyway, can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So it was kind of messed up growing up, getting out from this whole thing. Because it wasn't easy to get out of the drugs habit that I had. You know, it's fucked up when you have a habit and you can't afford it no more.
Mm.
Because back then I had so much money that I could afford it. I said, fuck it, I'm making money with the pills, but I started doing the pills myself.
Yeah.
And that's when everything collapsed because I was being watched, somebody ratted me out, you know what I mean? And that's another thing, one of my own family ratted me out, and when it was fucked up, it was shocking, you know. Uh, he passed away a couple of years ago. So it's fucked up because when that's what it tells you, life tells you, not to trust.
Mm.
And that's my whole thing, Uh, and I write a story about my life too. You know what I mean? Going on things, a lot of things that you don't know, a lot of things that people don't know. That I'm gonna leave it up to the book and the
Mm.
story to tell because my story is very interesting. It starts when I was 3 years old. It starts when I was playing with matches and I light my sister on fire. So it was kind of shocking because it's a lot
Oh
of
wow.
trauma on my story. I was growing up to be this person,
Mm.
and how I changed my life from doing these horrible things that I did when I was growing up. So it's called the Black Sheep.
Yeah.
All the things I did bad. That's the name of the book and the story. So yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of things you don't know that we talk and then we open up and every time that you talk to me or call me and I tell you something different, it's like, oh, but what I would do with this because sometimes you get open with different people,
Mm.
and you know how we talk and we get open like that. But
Yeah.
it's hard to tell the truth and tell people to get open. There was a lot of trauma, my stories. It was a lot of accidents. There was a lot of death. It's a lot of drug involved.
It's
Drug
like
habit,
usually,
addiction.
sorry, usually when I'm listening to people's stories, I talk a lot, and listening to your story today, I've stayed a bit quiet because I found it so intriguing. Like you've come up with more things, and I'm like, wow, like I never knew that. And it's crazy. Like, we see the good of people all the time, what they're succeeding with, but we never know why they're succeeding the way they are. It's because of obviously the hardship and the hell that they've been through. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
mad. But
It's crazy. It's crazy because sometimes you know so much about me. You only know so much about me. A lot of people,
yeah.
not only you, but people that I opened up and I told them my story. Like like I told Wahida right now.
Mm,
She's she's the one working on my story,
yeah.
and she does movies. And like I told you, I'm into acting right now. And I told Shichi my story. Angel Salazar, and I tell a few other people that I'm working right now. There's a team, and they were like, "Wow, your
Mm.
story is like a fucking Netflix story, bro. It's like something
100%.
like they so yeah, they wanted to buy my story and I don't want to sell it. We don't want to sell it. So
Mm,
I spoke to Wahida about it and she's like, no, we're not selling the story.
mm,
We're gonna do it and we're not selling it.
yeah.
So it's a lot of things going on. Because sometimes, if you get money hungry, yeah, you fuck it, you take a couple $1 million and that's it, you know,
Mm.
and keep you could keep my story. But I'm not money hungry, I'm good, I'm making
I
enough
think
money.
one thing that I wanted to know about you the most was, when you were younger, did you ever have a dream of kind of like the job that you wanted in the future?
Well, it was one it was one thing that, when I was growing up, I never had a dream, Cindy, to tell you the
Mm,
truth. I love music, yes, I did. Um, to make music, but I never had it. I never had a like, yeah, I want to be a doctor, like I want to be a police officer. I would never want to be a police officer, that's for sure. But eh, not that I got, anything against, whoever's a police officer, but yeah, sometimes, yeah, I can say, fuck it. I never want to grow up to be a cop, you know, but I never wanted to be a doctor either. I never wanted to be a lawyer. And I knew I could have done all these things because my brother today. He's an accountant. He's a mastermind in numbers. You know,
mm,
that's my older brother.
yeah.
But it was just different. I was in the hood. You know, I used to buy the books to my brother. So my brother could go to school and become this person. It's a lot of things people don't know. You know, and he knows that. That's why he's my brother. And it was messed up because my brother gets shot too in the hood. He gets shot like 2 inches from the heart. And
Wow.
I almost thought that I lost him. So I find my brother in a closet bleeding because he was scared to
So
tell
bad.
my mother he got shot. So he was gonna die. If I didn't find my brother in the closet, he was gonna die because he didn't want to tell my mom that he got shot.
Mm,
And he got
yeah,
shot right in the heart, right here, 2 inches from the heart. So he's bleeding with the hand like this. He made it to the house. And
mm,
I found him like this in a closet, you know, and I say, what happened? Tell mom. No, 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 don't tell mom. Don't tell mom. What are you fucking crazy? Let's go to the hospital then. So I had to take him to the hospital. He made it. He made it. That happened in my hood. The guy who did it got killed, you know, fuck him. You know, he was a very abusive person and
yeah.
yeah, he got shot. So anyway, it's a fucked up story because the more I keep talking to you, the more things you see, you're gonna start finding out because you didn't know about my brother being shot, me finding him in a closet, me saving his life.
Yeah.
There's so many in my story, but all that you're gonna see and you're gonna find it in my book and in my story of the movie, that I'm doing.
Do you have
There's
a release date for when your book will be coming out?
We don't. We don't have
Okay.
it because we started doing it now. We just like became the
Mm,
story. Right now, we did the story. We're still going through it. There's a lot of things getting edited. We're gonna start filming later on when I sign the contract.
mm,
Is when we're gonna start doing everything. I'm not in a hurry. Like I say, Simi, I already went up and down. I know what's having money. I know what's being broke. I know what's being real. You know, so it's just like I'm good. I say God has given me the time to take my time.
Yeah.
And I always tell you that time is a very important word, and it's one of my
Mm.
best words ever. Time. El
Yeah, I
tiempo.
remember you.
That's
I
something
remember when
that,
you said that to me. I think it was at the start of the year or something. About time, and then
yes,
it kind of got me thinking about time as well. And I was like, I see where he's coming from. And it's like our own time is man-made on Earth, but the soul sees time differently. And I've started to see that differently too now after what you pointed out.
exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Everything is time. I noticed that growing up in life, everything is time. Everything. You have to take your time with everything. Have to.
Yeah.
Have to take your time because time is what teach you who you're
Mm.
gonna be. But you're only gonna know all these things with time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you're trying to do. Time is the most important word in the world because the world was made with time. God took his time to make perfection,
Mm.
because no matter what, how we look at this world fucking up, but it's the people fucking it up because he made it perfect. He made this whole thing perfect. But
Yeah.
there's always
That's true.
negative and positive. Remember, God plays both sides. He knows what's good and he knows what's bad. He gives you to choose. You want bad? Go ahead. You want good? Then you go ahead. You good, I'm gonna bless you. You bad, I'm gonna still bless you, but it's not gonna be the same blessing. You feel
Mm.
me? It's gonna be teachings, which are blessing. Because all this thing going up, me going to jail, those are blessings. And
Yeah.
people be like, how can they be fucking blessings? When you,
Mm.
you you just got your cousin shot, your cousin just got shot, he got killed. Those are blessings? Yes, they are blessings. Why? Because those blessings got me here today, talking about it. Those blessings got me here, knowing it's how it's gonna be tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the
How
other
can I
day.
walk a better?
I was having a
Yes,
chat with one of the girls. She contacted me. She was saying that she's not feeling 100% lately, and that she feels as though she's a bit depressed. Now, she was saying, she's always going to feel that way. She's never going to learn a lesson from it. And I was like, you don't understand depression. It's a blessing in disguise, as weird as it sounds. And she was on video call to me, and she's looking at me going, like, what? How is that a blessing? What? And I said to her, many
yes,
people, they look at me now and they're like, oh, she's living life, she's good vibes, that kind of thing. But they don't realize that when I was 15, I was severely depressed, and I had to go through that in order to learn to love myself, learn to love my demons. And I said to her, I said, one day you'll be helping other people. I said, it's just your learning experience. So I agree with you
exactly,
100%.
exactly. It's life is just like that. It's all
Mm,
about learning. You have to
yeah.
know your blessings. You have to know your demons. You have to fight all that. And if you don't know how to fight it, then you gotta ask God for help or guidance, because at the
Mm,
end of the day, that's how I learned. That's how I met God. I became more spiritual with him. I used to do other things, believing in other religions that I didn't really like had really knowledge of, but I did learn because
yeah.
God wanted me to learn. And so everything that I went through, everything that I've been in, it was a learning, it was a process of life you know so it's crazy because time will give you all that
Mm,
and like I said, it says the time is one of my best words, and I always use that because it showed me a lot. It made me the person that I am today. And I'm not the greatest person in the whole world, but whoever know me and know what I went through is gonna be like, when they talk about me, they can't say anything bad. They say, no, this guy is real. This nigga's real. He's the real shit. You know, it ain't gonna be no fake shit. I tell you like it is. If you don't like it, then I'm sorry, but I can't
mm,
be fake. You don't like my story, then go ahead and buy a cartoon story and read that. You know what I'm saying? But my story real. You know, my
yeah.
story cannot be anything. It's not fake. It's real. I gotta bring it to you like that because it's the way it is. And a lot of people live with the eyes closed. They don't really appreciate in life what they have, you know.
I love how
And
you
some
said
people they just born with the
eyes
silver
closed.
spoon.
I love how you've said eyes closed, because obviously this podcast is called Open Eyes. So, and that's exactly what you've been doing. You know, you've shared your story today, for example,
Yeah.
and I think people are going to be able to relate.
Exactly, exactly. You know, a lot of people a lot of people relate to my story. Like I told people my story, real dudes, real
Yeah.
dudes, uh, stand-up guys. You know what I mean? They've been in jail for 15 years. They got out of jail and they were like, "Fuck, man, your story's fucking." Like I thought my story was crazy, but when you told me your story and how it, wow, they're like, I couldn't make this up, Simon. I can't make it up because reality is not gonna let me make it up. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's like right now I laugh about it. I'd be like, yeah, you know, and people that relate to me, they're like, yo, we just laugh about it now. And you know, I got, you know, hood brothers too, that we just go eat and talk about shit, you know, and they'll be like, yo, your story, when I can't wait for your story to pull out because it's going to be an amazing story. It's going to be something that a lot of people are going to relate to it. It's going to help a lot of people because I believe that, you know, some people that become, you know, depressed and they've been on depression, they commit suicide, they commit all these kinds of shit because they think they have a problem and they really don't. They just get close in this little bubble and it's hard to open the eyes. It's hard
Yeah.
because they locked up in this bubble. They don't know anything. They don't know anything about it. They don't have a parent to tell them, listen, this is how it is. Because these parents these days, right now, the new generation parents, they so fucked up. They just like, fuck it. She's gonna be a prostitute. Oh, fuck it. She's doing drugs. Who cares? You know, let her do whatever she wants. It's like that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not the right, you know, be a good parent. Be a good parent. Talk like I
What would you
talk to my
define?
daughters.
What would you define a good parent?
Well, you know, you got to talk like I talk to my daughters. You got to tell
Yeah.
them what's good and what's bad. You know what I mean? Look, this is green. You know, you got to show them that that motherfucking thing is green. Don't tell her that it's red, knowing that it's green. You know,
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
be open with your daughters. You got to be open. I told my daughters, you know, you got to, you know, when you're 13, you got to start thinking about sex. You got to wear condoms. Daddy, why you talk to me like that? Because you have to know about these things. You
And
know,
I
there's a lot
respect
of
that.
guys
For sure.
they're gonna try to convince you. They're gonna, you know, give you this. They're gonna try to, you know, because I've been there. I've been in a pimping game. You know what I mean? You know, I've been there and done that. They're gonna try to guys gonna try to pimp you. They're gonna how? What are you talking about? That? Yeah, you know, because yeah, they're gonna try to make you make money for them and all this crazy shit. I know the game, you know. So I teach my daughters about that. You know, you don't need nothing from no guy. You know, that's why you got your daddy. You know, but if you ever do, you know, make sure that that guy's gonna do for you, you know, for what you do for him.
I got so much respect about
Because
that.
it's got to be an equal. It's got to be yeah. It's got to be an equal thing. You know, so it's just the same thing. I tell my daughter, if you're gonna call me for money and you got a guy eating you up, then that guy got to take care. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, I'm still gonna be your daddy, but who the fuck you got there laying in your bed? You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's real. That's real. You know, no one don't. I'm her daddy, yeah, but you got a guy there. So what is that guy doing for you? So that's the best moment to talk to your daughter or to your son, you know, when things like this is happening. Okay, cool, but you decide to leave home. Why you left home? Because I fell in love with my boyfriend. What is your boyfriend doing for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's nothing is free in this world.
I agree.
Nothing.
And so I was
You
just
know,
gonna ask.
time will tell you this.
I was gonna ask. So what three tips or life advice would you kind of give to the youth now that you wish that you may have received when you were younger?
Man, stay in school. That's one of them, you know, because I know if I would have stayed in school, where everything that I know now, I would have been a beast. Right now,
Yeah.
I would have been a beast. Not that I'm not right now, but stay in school, keep up your mind positive, all the time. Get surrounded by positive people, because the only thing that's gonna keep you right is when you got good vibes around you. Because
Yes.
if you let demons get to you, if you let those demons get to you, that's it. They're gonna destroy your life because those demons are there to destroy your life, and to make it worse. They're not gonna
Mm.
make it any better. You got a guy, you got your best friend who's smoking weed. Yeah, but after weed, he's gonna, you want to do this bad, next thing you know, you get caught up in a situation that you don't know how to get out. So it's for me, it's just being there on that situation, knowing what I know. The best tip that I could give you is just stay off that.
Mm.
Stay in school, do something productive. If you think that you're gonna go north, and in the north it's gonna be too cold for you, then go to the south.
Mm.
Go to the south, because going to the north and knowing that it's gonna be cold, it's bad for you, then then don't go. Stay with good people, good surrounding, surrender by good people. And if you don't got good people, then try to be more connected with your inside spirit.
Mm.
You have to be connected with something, you know, beyond you. You have to be connected to God, because that's the only person that could tell you what to do. And when you like in depression and you have problems and you think you have problems, because that's the other thing. Sometimes I talk to my daughter. My daughter one day tell me, "Oh, I'm going through this." I'll say, "Mommy, that's not problems. That is not a problem. That's something you could solve
Mm.
very easy. You find another friend." You see that is, you know, she was
Mm.
depressed because her friend don't want to talk to her. She started crying. Her friend was bullying her, whatever, whatever. I say, listen, you'll find another friend, and
That's
you
true.
get connected with yourself, with your spirit,
And I
and
think
that's
one
it.
thing with like obviously I'm going to be 20 this year, but back when I was in like high school, I know there was so much peer pressure and it was kind of causing many people to feel that depression and become depressed. And I
Yeah,
think, obviously in now's day and age, there's just so many expectations that people create for other people. And they're like, you've got to be like this, you've got to dress like this. And I think, certain things will happen in our life where we start feeling down, but they're supposed to happen because it's a learning lesson for us so that we can get to the next step. We can go to that next mission. So yeah.
exactly, exactly. Now, right now, like I tell you, so many things that people think that matters,
Mm,
and in reality, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? They
that's
pay
true.
attention to small things that
Mm,
really, it doesn't really matter. Like right now, how we're doing this podcast, and it's good because podcast it's everybody gets to know you or whatever, right? But Instagram,
mm,
social media got everybody fucked up. They got
yeah,
everybody fucked
yeah,
up. And I'm telling you right now, because you want to be in social media, you want to have more followers, uh, people liking your stuff. If people don't like your stuff and you got people following you, why is he following me? He's not gonna like my stuff. Well, why do you follow me? People pay attention to the small things.
mm,
Small things. Because okay, you put a postcard and why he don't like my postcard? And then now you become frustrated. You create this frustration. You become depressive, and you make this big deal. I know people that have killed themselves because of Instagram. I
yeah,
know people that they being bullied through Instagram.
yeah,
Oh, you're working out, you're still fat, you know? Hey, you work out and you're eating so many fucking donuts. They get bullied through Instagram,
it's so
and
sad.
social media is so fucked up now because everybody's trying to get the most views. So
Yeah,
everybody wants to go viral. Everybody wants to go viral, you know? It's so fucked up, you know? Oh, this girl's got the best body, she got the best shoes. So now you want the same thing. But you
yeah,
can't get it because you're not making that money. So what are you gonna do? You see what I'm saying? You're gonna go out there and try to get it. How? Oh, you might get a sugar daddy, or you might get, so many fucked up shit. Like the other day I heard, this girl killed her man over, you know, some crazy shit that the dude find out on Instagram, and they both started stabbing each other, and it was crazy. It's a big thing here, just.
Uh-huh.
But it was fucked up because when you start listening to people's stories, you be like, God damn, I thought my life was fucked up.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That's this is the reality. This is what I'm trying to give you. You know, when you think you got problems, you got other people here with worse problems than you. They trying to solve. So that's what got to make you calm. You know, it makes you calm. Why? Because then you'll be like, damn, I thought I had problems, but damn, Roka been through a lot. So if he made it, shit, why? How come I can't make it?
Mm.
What's the tip? What's the secret? What's the secret? Talk to your insight. Talk to your insight. Talk to God. Ask for guidance. You know, because He's the real teacher. At the end of the day, He's giving you all this that to go through. He managed everything. He managed depression. He managed sad. Anxiety. He managed all that. He managed it. So you have to talk to him how to deal with this situation, and he will tell you exactly how to get out. He's going to show you. Believe me, when you talk to God, when you say, God, give me the guidance, please show me exactly what you want me to do, because I know this whole thing is a test. No
Exactly.
matter the situation, no matter the situation that you want, teach me, because you're the teacher, you're the man. When
Mm.
you ask God to do these things, He's going to show you. He is going to show you. He's going to open that door. And somehow you're going to be like, oh, wow. Oh, look, the water's getting clear. You know, the water's turning clear. Why? Because now he's opening your eyes. But if you
Yeah.
don't got, if you don't have God inside you, if you don't ask Him to be inside you, He's not going to go in, because He's a bigger God. He's very, very respectful God, and He's not going to interfere in your life if you don't let Him
Mm.
interfere in your life. And that's the
It's
way
like,
I'm connected with Him. And everybody be like, "Well, you're not a Christian. What are you?" It's like, brother, listen, I just talk to Him. That's it, like a
mm.
buddy. I talk to God like a buddy. Yo, you gotta tell me what it is, you know.
Yeah, that's the best way.
So now I'm not afraid of anything. Yeah, I'm not afraid of anything right now. I'm not afraid to go back in jail. I'm not afraid to go back. I mean, I don't want to go back there. But if you never know, you could be driving,
Mm.
kill somebody, going back to jail. What is the purpose? What is the
Yeah.
purpose of you going back? It have to be a purpose. God is giving you a purpose. Somebody you got to meet in there, you know, because it's like that. You meet people, interesting people, like right now. I met the guy that got me into filming. The guy
Mm.
that got me into filming, I met him in jail.
Mm.
So see how life is so fucked up, but it is good because God is putting you through that. Remember, your whole path, God have it written exactly what you're gonna be in life. He knows everything. He knows what you're gonna be in life. But you have to go through all this. You got to go through all the corners, no matter what. Cindy.
Mm.
In whatever God you believe in, whatever spirits or whatever, you have to know that you have to go through all these little corners. But you see how it is? It's like you have to go through every corner to make it in life. You can't just be caught in corners. Don't try to cut
Yes.
no corners, because when you try to cut corners, that's when shit gets fucked up for you. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And it's like yesterday, I just did an episode with one of my really good friends. She had some stuff going on about, I believe it was like a year ago now, I think. And, she was really, really down. She didn't know kind of what would help her during this, like depression, I would call it. So she started speaking to me, and she's fallen in love with spirituality. And I'm so happy for her, because it's like when she's doing, like going through meditation or anything else, she feels that high vibrations, and she's loving it, and I'm so happy for her as well. So
exactly.
yeah, so like I agree with everything you've said today. I'm just like, I'm astonished, because you're spot on. You've said your story. I'm like, wow, you're so mentally strong. And then it's
Yes,
like everything you say just hits the soul.
yes. And it's like like I said to you, it's not even happened yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is only few things that happen into my life that I have to
Mm.
open up to people and that I have to know, that you know, there's more.
Mm.
There's more to come. Good or bad is good. That's the way I feel. Good or bad, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Me.
That's the way. Because you cannot take only the blessings.
Mm.
You can't take the blessings only. You gotta take
You
the
have to go through the
good,
bad.
but you have to take the bad. You
Yes.
have to. If you don't take the
100%.
bad, then you're not a good receiver. You're not a good receiver. It's like everything is like a game. It's like a baseball, right?
Mm.
It's like baseball. When you play baseball, you got a good
Yeah.
catcher, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes the pitcher throws a good ball, bam, and he catch. And sometimes he throw a bad ball, but he got to run
Mm.
and get the ball. You know what I'm saying? He's not always going to throw it right in the middle for you. God is the same way. God is the same way. He's not always going to pitch right. He's not always going to pitch it to you right. He's going to throw that ball the other way to see if you go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because this is
100%.
what's going on right now with people. This
Yeah.
is what's going on. They don't go for that ball.
I agree.
You understand? Look at the knowledge. Going going with that it's just like, okay, if God pitches you the ball straight, you're the catcher. You catch it. You're playing a game with him. He's throwing, boom, and you catch it. The day that he throw to the left, you got your square. You're not supposed to move from that square. But yeah, guess what? You're gonna have to move because ain't nobody else gonna get that ball for you.
Mm.
You don't got nobody else. You don't got nobody else around you. Who's gonna go get it? You know what I'm saying? You have to know how to play all corners. You have to know how to play all bases. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to be a pitcher, you got to be a catcher, you got to be a batter, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with chess.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with every game. And God plays exactly, the energies that the universe plays like that to you. I'll talk about that because I'm so more connected with the universe, with God, with the energy. You know what I mean? And everything evolves an energy. You cannot waste your energy with people that doesn't deserve your energy.
It's true.
You understand? You, yeah, you can't waste your energy. Sometimes you'll be like, I'm gonna do this podcast. It's gonna be nice, but then maybe you're dependent on your friend to do the lightning or whatever, and he's got something to do, and you can't go with it, and you be like, you get mad because you want to do this postcard and you set a time because you're so correct with your time, but he can't make it.
Yeah.
You can't waste your energy. You can't waste your energy in things that really don't matter at the end of the day. You can't get mad for no reason. And sometimes I get mad. I try to help people that they doesn't want to get help.
Mm.
I try to help people that they doesn't even deserve my help
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
because they
like
so
most of us, we try to look at the good in everybody. And like yesterday when I was doing my episode, my friend, she was like, sometimes, we need to have that kind of barrier and see the difference between somebody who's actually just using us and somebody who is genuinely good.
exactly. Exactly. That, but some people don't understand that.
Yeah.
Some people don't understand that. So they want to tell you, hey, it doesn't deserve your your energy.
Mm.
That's why I try. Now, if you ask me what tips you give to people, don't waste your energy with somebody that doesn't deserve your energy. That it's
Yeah.
not going to take. I'm sorry. It's not going to take the positive side
Mm.
of the energy you give it. You know, because when you try to do that, remember, you have positive and negative. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And it's if you're gonna walk with somebody that's negative, somehow your mind is gonna start going the other somehow. You
Yeah.
know,
You get
it might not
influenced.
be today. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you'll be influenced. Influenced through that person. Or through that matter that's happening. Somehow you're gonna catch into some type of vibe. Next thing you know, you'll be like, how did I get into this? How? And you ask yourself, how did I get into it? But yeah, it was right in your face. It was right there. You know, you decide to do
Yeah.
it, you know,
No, I
and
agree
then you
with that.
don't see
Definitely.
that as a learning process. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, some people don't see it as a learning process. Some people see it as a bad thing. They're like,
Mm.
how did I get into it? Well, guess what? Ask God for that question. He's gonna tell you exactly how it is. Because you know, sometimes you go through things that you might think that it's not supposed to happen, but yeah, it had to happen. Everything that happened to me had to happen. Had
Mm. So we're coming
I
to a bit of an
managed.
end, but I wanted to ask, do you have a favorite quote in life?
And when you talk about quote, you mean about what? Because see, I'm not that.
Just
You
a
got these words. Sometimes that's why I love talking to you because this is why I love talking to you because you are a very smart person and
Thank you.
and sometimes you know how you tell me some big words and I'll be like, see, what do you mean? Oh, this is what it means. You're like a dictionary to me. So yeah, when you say quotes, what
Funny.
kind of
So like sometimes on my Instagram post, you might have seen it. I usually put up like a little phrase, I'm just trying to think of one from the top of my head. Um, let's use Scarface. Okay, so the eyes, Chico, they never lie. Now I love that quote because it's just always something that's kind of resonated with me in my life. So do you have one that kind of fits your life? Something that
yeah,
kind of
yeah. I got a lot of phrases. I always use a lot of phrases in my songs. That's what I know
mm,
about, you know. Uh, like the one that says, el miedo lo inventó un cabrón que no metía mano means like, you know, to be afraid is like a disease, to be
yeah,
afraid. Don't be afraid because the afraid was invented by somebody who, who was always scared, you know.
mm,
Fear was invented by somebody who didn't throw forward, who didn't, go
yes,
forward in life.
yeah,
That's why I think about. So that's one of my biggest phrases. The being afraid was invented by somebody that was never down to do something in life. You know what I mean? He was never a positive person. So that's why one of my phrases in Spanish it sounds like a little different. El miedo lo inventó un cabrón que no metía mano. Like
mm,
streetwise means that you know being fear was invented by somebody that didn't throw down. So in the hood, it's like this nigga don't throw down. Don't throw, he don't throw down like he don't fight. So fear was invented by
mm,
somebody that wouldn't throw down. So and that's why I always say never be afraid of going forward. Because there's only one way to find out.
mm,
There's only one way to find out. So just go forward in life. And never trust nobody but yourself. That's my other phrase.
yeah,
Never trust nobody but yourself. I got it written right here in Chinese letters. And I never trust nobody but myself. Trust you,
I'm just the
nobody
same.
else.
Mm,
You know, trust yourself. When you want to do something, go ahead and do it. Trust yourself, and you're gonna do it. You're gonna achieve it. Because I remember you talking about, I'm gonna do a postcard. I'm gonna do this. When you gonna do it? I'm gonna do it. I'm putting everything together. Look, you did it. Boom, you're there.
I got there
And
eventually.
yeah, it's nice. It's something that is different. It's gonna probably help somebody somehow. It's gonna help somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
maybe.
God bless you and everything that you are doing.
Thank you.
You
You
got
too.
my blessings all the time. Thank you for the opportunity to be on the podcast in your show. Okay,
You're very
and
welcome. It's been an honor.
and the honor is mine. Because you got to me like to get my story out. Something that I didn't do with everybody. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Something that a lot of people try to do through the interviews, and I never share that part of my life.
mm,
Because I done few interviews and
yeah.
Spanish channels and with other people in different countries. I never opened up, to this, you know. And well, I thank you for that because it's what I said. It's that fear. You gotta let that. You gotta let it go. Gotta let that go. Gotta tell your story. People want to know your story. Get open. You know,
And I
people
definitely
people
think,
want to know your story.
I think by,
Yeah,
obviously today, having you on, I was looking forward to having you on, because after we had the video call the other day, and you told me a lot more about yourself, I was
yeah,
so shocked, because I was like, I never knew half of these things. I've been close to you for a long time, but I was so shocked. And then, I think people will really appreciate, you taking out your time. I know I have, for sure. And you've got one hell of a story. And I'm sure for 100% that other people, they will watch this and they'll be like, oh, I can resonate to this, I can resonate to that. And you're definitely going to be
yeah,
helping other people. So,
yeah.
it's been an absolute honor having you on today. And I've absolutely loved having this chat with you.
Thank you,
And,
thank you.
I hope to get you on future episodes as well, because I know you're very good at cooking. That sandwich that
Yeah.
you made a long time ago, that looked very nice. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we need to get you
I'm
on.
very good at it. Yeah, I'm very
Yeah,
good at it. I was a chef. I'm still are.
yeah,
And yeah, that's why you see. That's why life gives you so many things. You learn. I learned how to be a chef in jail. So when I got out, I mastered that. That
mm,
gift. So it's weird. Life teaches you so many things. You know,
mm,
and you could come forward so many ways in
yeah,
life. It's crazy. Sometimes when we think we got problems, we don't. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's not just I call it a ghost that we
mm.
don't see. It's a ghost that we don't see.
Good time.
So I really appreciate your time. I really
Thank you.
appreciate your
I appreciate
questions
yours too.
because make me open a lot. So and I appreciate you. So here anytime, I hope to
Thank
see
you.
you one day to meet you in person, which
You
I
will.
am, because I told you
Yeah,
I'm going to England. So you
yeah,
might be over there, or maybe you come over here, something like
mm,
that. But I'm glad to know you as a person because you got so much to give. You are a very open person. You're very smart. You're very charming. So
thank you.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for having me on your show. So
I can
thank
say
you
the
very
same about
much.
you,
God bless you.
honestly.
And
I'm so blessed to know
you got all
you,
my
for
blessings.
real. And before we
Thank
wrap
you.
up, I just need to give a shout out to Angel Salazar and his agent Dennis, because Dennis texted me this morning, and just the message that I received, I was like, wow. I was like, I'm so honored to know these kind of people, right? And today's just been a really
Yes,
good
I'm
day.
glad I met him. Yeah, I'm glad I met
Yeah,
Angel, by the way,
yeah.
because he's like a life changing
Mm,
uh, kind of person. I met him. The way we met, it was like through this guy that he was with me in
mm,
prison. You know, his name is Joel. So I met Chichi. I met Angel Salazar through him. You know, so it got open somehow. Oh, come into the movie. I'm like, movie. I'm not an actor. Yeah, you're an artist. You gotta know how to act. Okay, cool. So
he's
let's
so
do it.
sweet.
So
It's like
yeah, and he's so
whenever,
smart. It's
yeah,
it's like a
definitely.
it's like a father to me right now. So
Yeah.
he when I'm feeling some type of way, he tells me you
Mm.
have to calm down. Just
He's
hey,
so
you have to
wise.
calm down. He,
Yeah,
he'd
it's
say,
like,
yeah, yeah, he's very smart. So he tells me, he's like, why are you so angry? And he's so calm. He don't scream. He never raises his voice. And I say, yo, because sometimes, I'm going through it, like I gotta make it to this place. You have to take anger management. I say, Shishi, you think I really have to take anger management? It's like, you have to go down. Okay, okay. So it's crazy because sometimes I want to make it to this place and we kind of late. And,
mm,
one thing about, and mentioned it here so many times, is time. Time
yeah,
for me is so important that if you tell me you have to be here at 12,
yeah,
I have to be there an hour ahead, an hour before the time.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Why? Because anything could happen, traffic, an accident. So, I learned this with somebody very important in my life too, that he's always told me, if you know you got to be there at the airport at 2 o'clock and your flight leaves at 3, at what time you going to be at the airport? I said,
mm.
well, at least at 2. It's like, no, you can't. Your plane leaves at 3. You got to be there at least 3 hours or 4 hours. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna stay in the airport for 2 hours, 3 hours. It's like you got something better to do. And I think life is just exactly the same way. I have to do these postcards at 12 o'clock. Why I'm gonna make you wait? Look, I was here waiting for what? An hour, right? We talked before the postcards, we call each other. And I told you, what do you think, Simi? This is a good spot. What do you prepare your section, you prepare in life. This is what you do. You have to prepare in life to look good. With everything. Look what I'm just telling you right now. You have to prepare in life for everything. So you have to be ahead of time right now. Have to be ahead of time because time is something that could bite you in your ass. If you sleep with it, boom. If you sleep with it, that's it. You're done. So I'm glad that you mentioned it. Like I said again, thank you for having me on your show, the podcast. And
you're very welcome.
I'm looking forward to see you one day, meet you in person.
Yeah,
You're
me
a great
too.
person.
Thank you. You too. And I'm honored to know you as well. I'm so
bless.
blessed. So we're going to wrap this up.
Okay.
Angel, we love you. We think you're an amazing person. Got to give you the shout out. And it's been an honor.
Yeah, shout outs to Chichi. Shout outs to Joel.
Shout out Chichi.
Shout out
and Dennis.
to Eric Rivas too for the Duke of New York. And Dennis,
we all think you're amazing.
I love you guys, man. Thank you for the opportunity.
And thank you to you too.
So God bless you.
You too.
Entiendo que fronteras comprendo que tu gata me mira, tú te crees patrón, pero yo soy el flow, que tú eres un matón, también tengo una glow,